because you want to get smart, fast, right? Peel back the layers on something important without getting totally lost in the jargon.
Exactly. Get those aha moments.
Yeah. So today we're doing just that. A deep dive into the limits, the statutory limitations on free speech in the Philippines.
And we're drawing this from quite a comprehensive survey, actually. It pulls together existing laws.
Like the revised penal code, and various Republic Acts.
Right, plus the rules of court. And it even looks at potential future legislation.
Yeah.
It gives you a really broad snapshot.
Okay, so our mission here is simple. Pull out the key limitations, explain what's regulated, what the consequences might be, basically give you a clear map of where those lines are drawn.
And what's really interesting when you first look at the current laws is that most of these limits, they kick in after someone speaks or expresses themselves. It's mostly subsequent punishment.
Okay, so like after effect accountability. We're talking about things like libel and slander then, from the penal code.
Precisely. Libel being written, slander spoken. Both can lead to, well, not just fines, but potentially jail time.
And civil damages too, right? You could still be sued.
Definitely. It underscores that words have consequences, legally speaking.
Makes sense.
And it goes beyond just personal attacks.
Yeah.
The code also covers things like inciting rebellion or insurrection, sedition, inciting sedition.
Stuff that stirs up serious trouble against the government.
Exactly. And those carry much heavier penalties. Prison mayor, prison correctional, fines. Serious stuff. Plus, there are rules against immoral doctrines or obscene publications too. Again, punishment after the fact.
And now with everything online, the digital age, that must add layers. Cyber libel, for example.
Oh, absolutely. That's under Republic Act 1175, the Cybercrime Prevention Act. Online libel, it actually carries a higher penalty than traditional libel.
Wow, okay.
And think about inciting violence online. RA 11479, the Anti-Terrorism Act, has provisions against inciting terrorism. The penalty there, it could be life imprisonment.
Life imprisonment, that's severe.
It is. And we also see strict laws around things like child pornography, RA 9775, very serious penalties, reclusion temporal to reclusion perpetua, plus big fines. Or even the Data Privacy Act, RA 10173, which has penalties for unauthorized disclosure, penal, civil, administrative, the works.
And even inside the courtroom, there are limits. Contempt of court.
Rule 71 of the rules of court. Disrupt proceedings, show disrespect. You could face fines or even jail time. It's about protecting the judicial process itself.
Okay, so that's mostly punishment after speaking, but you mentioned something else. Prior restraint. That sounds different.
It is quite different. Instead of punishing speech after it occurs, prior restraint tries to, prevent it beforehand.
How does that work?
A key example is the Public Assembly Act, BP-BLG 880. If you want to hold a rally or protest in a public place, you generally need a permit first.
So the permit is the prior restraint. You need permission before you assemble and speak.
Exactly. And if you don't comply, there are penalties. It's a direct condition placed on expression in that context.
Interesting. And elections, too. I know there are lots of rules around campaigns.
For sure. The Omnibus Election Code, BP-BLG 881, has rules about campaign materials, what you can say, where, when. That's a mix. Some rules act as prior restraint on campaign expression, and breaking them can lead to subsequent punishment.
Got it. Now, looking ahead, this survey mentions some potential new laws being discussed, like an anti-hate speech act.
Yes, that's one proposal. The idea there is to specifically target speech that incites violence or prejudice against certain groups. It would likely involve criminal penalties.
More targeted than existing laws, maybe.
Potentially, yes. Then there's also talk of an Anti-Disinformation Act.
Feels very relevant today.
Extremely. Aimed at tackling the deliberate spread of false information that causes harm. Again, likely involving penalties.
And one more. Social media accountability.
Right. That one's interesting because the focus seems to be more on the platforms themselves, making social media companies more responsible for dealing with harmful content shared on their sites. Penalties there might be more civil or administrative for the platforms.
So putting this all together, it's quite a balancing act, isn't it?
It really is. You have this fundamental right to free speech, absolutely vital, but you also have the government's need to protect public order, ensure safety, protect reputations, and so on.
And crafting these laws, especially the new ones, must be incredibly tricky. You don't want to accidentally shut down legitimate discussion.
Exactly. It requires very careful thought to address real harms without, unduly restricting those fundamental freedoms. A very fine line.
Okay, so to wrap it up. Freedom of speech is vital in the Philippines, but it's not unlimited. There are clear statutory lines, mostly enforced after you speak, but also some important rules that act before you speak, like permits for assemblies.
That's the core takeaway. Subsequent punishment is the main mechanism, but prior restraint exists too.
And it leaves us with a big thought, really, especially now, online and offline, with all these existing rules and maybe new ones coming. What does it really mean for you, the listener, to express yourself freely but also responsibly in today's world?
That's the crucial question, isn't it? Something to really think about long after this deep dive ends. How do you navigate that freedom and that responsibility?